Welcome again to this podcast, NLP Upskill Your Life, for episode 15. So it's great to be joined again by you guys. How are you all doing? Okay?
Good, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, it's great to be back again, isn't it?
Oh, always good to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks again, Eb, for joining us today as well. This is our Christmas special. It's the last one of this year, and we'll get loads more in the new year. We get lots more guests on, and yeah, we have a few guests lined up.
So
Don't forget to mention our 5-day challenge.
Oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Fintan. Fair play to you. Yeah, we're thinking about probably mid-January we're going to do a 5-day challenge where the stuff we're talking about in this podcast we're gonna do a 5-day challenge where you do a different thing every day, and there might be some prizes for people that get in touch with us and say what they've done or what they've got out of this 5-day challenge.
Yeah, you can always record your what you've done on our Facebook page if you so wish, or email us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because for anybody that's involved in writing, just a little thing, I might be getting a guy he's an editor, and he might be able to throw a prize in. Not promising, but something that I'm working on. So watch this space.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what we got the agenda today, lads? Think about Christmas and all the trials and tribulations, huh?
Absolutely. I suppose what we want to do is try and help people get the best out of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is, generally speaking, they say it's the happiest time of the year, but it's also the time when a lot of people feel most pressured, and maybe it's not the happiest time of the year for everybody. So what we want to do is give people a few ideas around how to handle some of the things that come their way at Christmas, so they do get the best from it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess people feel or have expectations of how Christmas should be from watching TV shows or the Christmas cards and the ideal kind of lifestyle that they may think they need to recreate.
Mm-hmm. And then you got the pressure as well of people going and spending like Christmas, as they say. And then in the new year, seeing the credit card bill through the roof and the credit union loans. So it's something to bear in mind, that enjoy yourself, and what I do is, and I try not overindulge in what I spend. Keep in mind that you have to put money by for January.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about that as well?
Is it around about February the 15th? I think it's top of my head. I'm probably wrong on that date, but they say that's the worst time of the year following after Christmas, because you've got Christmas, obviously Boxing Day over here, and then you got New Year's and New Year's Eve, and then people have just spent all the money, then all the credit card bills and everything come in, and at that time in February that people are like, gee, what do I do now? Because they've overspent and overextended themselves.
Absolutely. So I suppose the first thing maybe we'll tackle is the pressure that people feel in getting presents, because at the end of the day, this is going out on, I think it's the 15th of December. We're recording it on the 5th of December. So this time of year, people are looking at buying presents. They think, oh my God, I have to get a present for this person or that person or the other person. So I suppose a couple of things around that is have a look at your list of people you have to buy presents for, and see if you really have to buy a present for them. Because in the end of the day, they're feeling pressured about having to buy a present for you, and in fact, maybe you're not even that close, So one of the things that you could do, for example, is particularly around brothers and sisters and things like that, is you might end up buying presents for. It depends how many brothers and sisters you have, but you could end up buying presents for like 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and buying rubbish then, things that they wouldn't really like or whatever. Whereas if you just do Chris Kindle, for example, it means then that you can just focus all that money on one person, and come up with a limit between you. Decide, okay, this is the max we're going to buy, we're going to spend, and also why not just ask them what they want? You know, I know Chris Kindle is kind of secret Santa or whatever, but it's better to ask someone, especially if you're going to spend a decent amount of money, something that they might find useful, something they will find useful, that they'll enjoy having, something maybe they wouldn't buy for themselves. And it's just nice for them to have something then to look forward
Yeah.
to. So there's just a couple of ideas around presents. Anybody else, any other ideas around?
Yeah,
presents?
I've fallen into that trap as well, Fintan, many years ago now, is just overextending myself, buying presents for people who I didn't really know, because it just felt, and it was other people going, oh, you should buy presents for them, buy presents for them. And, why do I do that now? It's pointless. They don't really care about you.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
But it's not even that, I suppose. Even like you do have friends, but the problem is that you have maybe a number of friends, and they have friends, and they're thinking, and maybe they also have kids, you know, and it's like, well, okay, I have to buy presents for the kids, but I've got to spend this money on buying Vincent a present, or buying Richard a present, or buying Mark a present, you know, when in fact we're happy enough.
I have your presents on the way, lads, by the way. I've got your presents on the way, yes.
Cheers, Mark.
Yeah, no pressure. Well, Mark, I don't have a present for you.
I didn't spend that much. Don't worry, it's okay.
Don't worry,
You'll get a lump of coal if you're lucky, Mark.
Say again.
You'll get a lump of coal if you're lucky.
Yeah. Well, I got that this morning. I was wondering what the hell that was coming in the letterbox. I said, well,
Lucky one through the window.
Well, I wouldn't know what to do with the coal because I don't have a fire in the house. I only have the gas heating, so I would have gave it to my neighbour and they might have got me something nice, you know.
Yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, don't be putting pressure on people to get presents for you, and you don't feel the same pressure to get presents for them, and that in itself can save quite a amount. And again, one of the things actually I find with getting presents for people is asking someone what they want for Christmas, and they say, "Oh, I don't know, give me something, give me a surprise," right? They go, "Oh no," you know, because now, well, it's not that you have to think about something. You have to think of something that they like. Spend money on something that they may or may not like. You know, there's nothing worse than handing someone over a present on Christmas Day or whatever, and they look at it and go, "Oh, okay," you know, okay, I'm going to do with this, you know.
So, well, the classic thing is buying people smelling, bad stuff. And all that.
Yeah.
The implication is that person smells.
Like, I used to work in this job, and we used to do a Chris Kindle every Christmas, you know. And every Christmas I used to get the old sprays and all that kind of stuff, and the old ones. And I go for a run at lunchtime. I was thinking they're telling me they're giving me a message here, definitely, you know. But actually, one year it was great. I actually got Father Ted, you know, the video, the episode Father Ted. Did you ever see it, Rich? I got the box set of Father Ted, which was class. I was actually delighted with that, you know.
Yeah.
And then what I find as well, like if you are, good point about the Chris Kindle there, Fintan, because what I normally do is maybe if I'm getting a Chris Kindle, I'd probably pay for a night out for somebody, like be it the cinema or you know, it doesn't cost a fortune, but it's a night they can go out and have a bit of crack, you know, and it doesn't cost you that much, you know.
That's a great idea. And actually that's something that people advise, is rather than buying things, to buy experiences. Yeah, to give people experiences as a present. That's an excellent idea. And I have to say, people do appreciate that, because maybe they're sitting at home going, what will I do? I'll go to the cinema. Maybe do I have the money to go to the cinema? Oh, I have this voucher. Thanks very much, Mark. And off we go and enjoy their thing. Yeah, it's an excellent idea.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I went down. They liked it. They were happy.
Good. Let's see something they liked anyway.
If they weren't happy, what were you going to do then, Mark? Slap them round a bit.
I was going to go myself. Take to the cinema and go myself. Take a look.
Yeah. Another pressure that people might feel around Christmas is the pressure of socializing, too much socializing. You know, like at the end of the day, you can go out from the 1st of December to the 31st of December every day and every night. Well, maybe bar Christmas Day or whatever. And the thing about it is that each night out is not cheap, you know. So what you can do, if it is a thing that you love, socialize, loads of fun, that's great. Go out and enjoy yourself, you know. But on the other hand, if it's a thing that maybe you feel that there's too much on, that maybe you could decide in advance, well, are there one or two things that I do want to go to? You know, maybe it's a Christmas party, but maybe there's 2 or 3 Christmas parties, you know. So maybe you decide, well, which one is the one I want to go to? And decide that in advance and then hold fast to it. And what you'll notice as well is sometimes that people feel, oh God, well, I don't go to this, and these will be offended. Don't go to that, they'll be offended, you know. Maybe instead of having a night out drinking, maybe just go to lunch with someone, you know. And that actually works quite well as well, you know, that it's obviously a lot cheaper to go to lunch with someone, with a few people, than it is to go out for a night's drinking. And it also takes pressure off them as well, because it's quite likely that everybody else is feeling the same pressure, but they're going, well, there's 1 or 2 things you can just make life a bit easier for them. It also makes life a bit easier for you, you know?
Great point, Fenton. Yeah, because I was at my Christmas do last Friday. Funny you should say that. And I went out first, and we went for a few points in town, and to watch a really good band. I had about 4 or 5 points, and then we were going to another kind of a late bar down, like place, kind of a dance music in the band, you know. But I had the 5 points, and I was thinking to myself, I don't want to be wrecked tomorrow morning, like, because especially if you have young kids, you don't want to be hungover or you know, tired for the rest of the day. So after I left the one pub, you know, in town, I end up not drinking there for the night, just drinking non-alcoholic drink and a few pints of water, and you're not spending a fortune, and you're enjoying the night as well better, because you can actually remember what, like, the night, and you can remember having the crack in your, you know, you just, it's all around better, you know, for pacing yourself, like, you know. I know sometimes it's easier said than done when there's loads out in rounds, but I think it's a good point to even keep to yourself sometimes, because I know, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, you know, everybody drinks more expensive drinks and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, keep away from rounds so you're going at your own pace.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And there's quite often you have people who are drinking rounds and feel like they drink more quickly, because suddenly there's another round, they go back and there's 2 pints in front of them, and next thing it's their round as well, you know, and people are pressuring them to, oh, knock them into you, get them into you, you know, and drinking faster than you want.
And it's not only that, there's always at least one bloke who always, when it comes to their round, they'll go off somewhere.
It goes missing, yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that song, "Get Around, Round, I Get Around." You know that
one? Yeah.
And he doesn't get around at all.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't get around. And I did hear about this guy who he never socialized with his work colleagues. He didn't want to. Right. Anyway, so because of that, he got reprimanded in his working environment. Anyway, so eventually went to tribunal, that sort of stuff, and they threw it out, and they said nobody should be forced to feel like they have to go to work studies and all that. It's only that you're there to work, you're not there to socialize with people, especially if you don't get on with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit short.
Which way? The guy didn't want to socialize, or they were trying to force him to socialize?
Trying to force him, like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, because I think there's a much more of an appreciation now, or well, generally speaking, much more of an understanding of, you know, people are different. Was a time when everybody was expected to be normal, you know. Now people realize that there's people in workplaces and that have various you know, I suppose disabilities and stuff that maybe aren't as obvious as others. Like, for example, people just like to keep themselves to themselves, you know, and that's absolutely their right. You know, there's no reason why they shouldn't, you know, and there's no reason why they should feel made to feel any less as a result of it, you know.
Yeah.
Entertaining and inviting people around to your house or going around to other people's houses as well, I suppose, falls in that category of socializing. And the pressure to go, oh, another house party. have I got all the stuff in to entertain these people, all the snacks and all the bits and bobs that go in with that kind of thing, or even cooking meals as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of the time people feel under pressure, especially if they're doing the Christmas dinner, maybe it's their year to do it, maybe do it that way. And they feel they have to have like 10 courses, they have to have like 2 or 3 plates full of stuff per person, you know. And there's so much waste around Christmas, you know, that people are there, and like even like I enjoy a leg, whether it's chicken, lamb, turkey, whatever, you know, but the size of a turkey, like, sort of thing is massive, and you're not going to be eating much more than that. Like, you won't get much more on the plate anyway. The fact is that people feel, first of all, that they have to overindulge, they have to eat too much, but they also have to provide too much. Like you have 3 or 4 different desserts, all that sort of thing, and maybe you get Christmas cake because one person likes Christmas cake and nobody else likes it, or Christmas pudding or whatever it might happen to be. You know? So there's no pressure. Even the whole notion of having to do turkey and ham. A lot of people this year now aren't doing turkey and ham, and it's not down to avian flu. Yeah, well that's it, because of what you like, you know. Provide. If you are cooking for a lot of people, then great. The idea is that the turkey will go a long way, you know, and that's the idea of having turkey. If you have a big crowd in, if you don't have a big crowd in, you know, do you need a turkey? Do you need a full turkey? You know, all that sort of stuff. Right. So there's no harm
turkey sandwiches, turkey curry, turkey casserole.
Oh yeah, done it all. Yeah. And
that reminds me of this guy used to work.
This milk is very turkeyish. You're putting in your tea, you know.
Oh, God.
About
that's a terrible. I'll edit that bit out.
It reminds me of this guy I used to work with, and his partner. So they used to go up to, I think it was the Worcestershire area, and her mother or grandmother used to invite them around for meals, but she was like almost blind, so she couldn't see what she was cooking. So they'd end up eating like cauliflower crumble, when it's supposed to be like apple crumble, and just chucking it, mix and matching all sorts of ingredients. And that, this is really delicious.
A bit like Rachel's trifle in Friends.
Yeah,
you remember that?
But again, there'd be so much food, you'd be like forced to eat that amount of food because they just like entertaining and cooking for people. But this food was absolutely horrendous.
But even where the food is lovely, people start trying to make you feel guilty because you're not eating enough, because they're going to be left with loads left over, and like it's your fault that they cook too much.
And it's only a day as well, and the shops are just shut for a day and a bit, really. But people stock up for like 200 years, like 3 shopping trolleys and all that sort of mental stuff.
There's no need to do that.
Absolutely. And in Ireland, what you call Boxing Day, we call St. Stephen's Day. And like that, Christmas Eve, shops are jammed. They're getting all the stuff in. And next thing then, they're closed Christmas Day, closed Stephen's Day, and they're open the next day.
Yeah.
And the crowds are in again, filling up and stuff. What happened to all that stuff you got on Christmas Eve, you know? Not to mention the stuff you've been stocking up for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Absolutely.
Well, you know?
Nuclear winter's come and gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But
one other point I was going to make, sorry, Fintan.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you're right.
Now, Christmas can be kind of a excuse me, kind of a sad time for people as well. You know, who've lost family members around this time of year as well. Like it just seems to have a kind of a, you know, Christmas brings back memories of when you were a kid with your family. If you know you've lost close like family members. But I think it's important as well to remember, in my case, is Christmas, you have to kind of, even if you're not feeling up to it, you kind of have to make yourself feel, change your state for the children, like, because you know it's you have to be upbeat for your kids, you know. That's what I think anyway.
Absolutely, Mark. And actually, Christmas Day is my mother's birthday. And she died now a dead long time. 19 years now. But the thing is, I remember the first Christmas afterwards, because we always went to the parents' house on St. Stephen's Day, and that, and actually we still did up until about 2 years ago now, brother's place. But the thing is that it, as you said there, Mark, yeah, like the thing is there are other people, especially when there's kids around, and you don't want to take the glass off them, But what's interesting is one of the things you can do maybe is commemorate the people you've lost. For example, on Christmas Eve, there's a tradition in some places where people go to visit the graves on Christmas Eve, and it's part of the tradition. And then on the way home, maybe they do something a little special, and the kids then get to appreciate that they're commemorating, they're remembering people, even if they never met those people, or if they were very young when they died, that sort of thing. And it's nice for them to remember, but it's also a nice way for you to remember, to I suppose to bring them into Christmas, to bring them into your Christmas, to include them in your Christmas. And it's not that they're gone and forgotten. Just because they won't be there in person doesn't mean that they won't be there in spirit.
They'll be there in the whiskey.
What's that, Rich?
They'll be there in the whiskey or the vodka and the gin.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
God,
right. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, but no, that's a really good point. Like, because that way you're celebrating their memory, and you still are including them, so that's great,
Yeah. I suppose there's one other thing that, as Rich said there earlier, we're all watching TV programs and movies around Christmas, and they're all this idealized situation, where everyone sits around, Santa comes, and there's kids or whatever, and there's big families, and they all come and they eat dinner and all that sort of thing. But I suppose not everybody has a big family to celebrate Christmas. Some people are on their own for one reason or another. For example, a lot of people now celebrating Christmas in different countries. People who have emigrated and who won't get home for Christmas. And those people maybe don't have a family in that country, there's any number of reasons why people may not have family around Christmas, and it's something to bear in mind. At the same time, it doesn't have to be a depressing situation, a depressing scenario.
Great point.
Like, for example, there may be you may have friends who you can celebrate Christmas with, either if they invite you around to them, to their place, or you can invite them around to yours, or if you don't have the facilities to entertain, that even just to spend the day, perhaps if you don't have friends that you can celebrate with, or anybody you can celebrate with, perhaps the idea of volunteering at a nearby hospital, shelter, any sort of place like that. It might be that you can play a bit of music, that you go around to the nearest old folks, or something like that, just to entertain other people, particularly if it's something that you do enjoy having other people's company around Christmas, that there are other ways to celebrate Christmas, to have things at Christmas, to have people around you at Christmas. And of course, on the other hand, if you don't like company, you don't want company, maybe you just want to have a quiet Christmas to yourself, and that's fine as well. Just have in what you need, and still make a day of it. Maybe you want to go out for a walk, just go out into nature, just enjoy a walk, enjoy the weather, whatever it might happen to be. That sort of thing. There are lots of ways to get through Christmas. Some people just want to get through Christmas, like you mentioned there, Mark. Maybe they've lost their partner, they've lost their loved one, and they don't feel like celebrating. They just want to have that time for themselves. You know, that's something they can do as well. You know, but to have something to do rather than sit around just thinking about it, drinking or whatever. Maybe to plan something, to do something, maybe a little bit more constructive with our time. You know, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a great point, Fintan. I was actually just thinking that myself. You know, I was only talking to a friend of mine in work the other day, and he was talking. This guy loves fishing and loves going swimming and stuff. You know, and he was asking. They were having a chat. Like he's on his own. Like he doesn't have any family, so he's basically talking why he's doing this Christmas. Oh, I always go down to the 40 foot on the Christmas morning. I always go fishing in the afternoon, and that kind of keeps him going. Even does know it's Christmas, but he doesn't let that phase him that he's actually on his own. It's the way his coping mechanism is to kind of, like you say, keep busy doing the stuff that he really enjoys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're on about big families as well. So there's a couple I was chatting to, and they got a big family, but every year they would go away somewhere for 6 months or whatever time period was. They have their Christmas earlier, but then go away off to the sun for whatever period of time that was, which is not a bad idea as well if you can do that kind of thing. And also is obviously people who work in emergency services, police, fire, ambulance, nurses, doctors, and those sort of people who, doing their job, muddling by and getting on with life.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah. Like, you know, hats off to these people that, you know, have to don't like they still hopefully get to enjoy part of Christmas, but like you're like people on the front line, you have to think of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, there are people who give up their Christmas to work in hospitals or homes, that sort of thing, you know, whether doctors, nurses, and as you say, firefighters. You know, there's so many people who do give up their Christmas every year, and you know, in fairness, we have to appreciate that what they're doing. You know,
and the people who help keep the lights on, they're obviously incentive. Like them, we're buggered.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. The power goes off on Christmas Day. But a lot of turkeys defrosting in freezers and not making it into the oven.
We just took it into the mince pies if there's any left.
Yeah.
Santa's eating them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Great stuff.
Anyway. Oh, we haven't done I thought of scale on lay today.
Right. So today's scale and lay. Yesterday we went to we brought the scouts out to a place nearby called Knights and Conquest. It's in Granard, and basically it's a place which gives a bit of the history of the town of Granard and the county of Long. And it's particularly based around the Norman invasion. The Normans took the town of Granard and built castle there, that sort of thing. So part of what we were doing was we were going around seeing all different types of clothes that people wore in those days, and the type of different swords and shields and what they used and that sort of thing. And at the end of it, then we had a little bit of archery, because archery was an important part of warfare at the time. And what kid and adult doesn't like a bit of archery? So anyway, as we were all having we were all taking our turns, and there was one of the leaders there with he was again lining up his sights to take the shot. And the first shot he took was just a little bit high and a bit to the right. And the next shot he took was a little bit low and a bit to the left. And eventually, with 5 arrows, he started adjusting. You know, when it went too far to the right, moved it a bit to the left. He was going a bit too high, brought it down, went a little bit too low. But each time he got a little bit closer. So the final arrow came. He had adjusted enough, hit the bullseye.
Yeah, very good.
Great stuff, Fintan. Great stuff. Love that. Great stuff. That's one to let sink in there. Thanks for that, Fintan. Okay, so mine is the question lay for the day. So this one is off the top of my head. So thinking back to last Christmas, what was the one thing that made it really, really good and special for you? And how are you gonna make that just as good this year, if not better? So thinking back to last year, what's the one thing that you can think right now that made it really special and good for you? And how can you replicate that to make it really good and special this year? Thank you.
That's great, Mark. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so once again, thanks a million for tuning in to today's podcast, the Christmas special, episode 15. So God, 15 already. The weeks are going quick. So listen, I'm sure you join me to say, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and a really happy New Year as well. We'll join you again early in the new year, and to mention as well, again, we're going to do a 5-day challenge, sometime in January. So watch this space.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Have an amazing Christmas. Look forward to seeing you.
Definitely. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that kind of good stuff. And if you want to get more of us, you can find us on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, and Amazon Music as well.
Yeah. And yeah, and once again, so if you want us to, like the lads say, if you want us to discuss anything on the podcast, you know what to do. Send us an email or put it on the Facebook group, and we'll be happy to talk about that, whatever you want us to discuss.
Absolutely. And our email address is nlpupskillyourlife.
Great stuff.
Excellent.
Okay. So Merry Christmas, lads, and Merry Christmas to all the listeners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, guys, and Merry Christmas to all the listeners. Thanks very much for listening, and see you next year.
Yeah, bye-bye.